You know those mornings where you wake up and your first thought is, fuck this? Hi, same. That's me every morning in the cold seasons. The last 3 months of the year, actually pretty much all of fall and winter, I tend to get very bad seasonal depression. And usually it creeps in before the weather's even able to catch up. Purely out of anxiety and anticipation for the depression. It's sick, it's twisted, I know. It's the way my brain works. And the fact that it starts before it even needs to, just because I'm afraid that it's going to start at all, is crazy to me. It's also probably a good sign to myself that I need to reset and refocus every single day. I'm a highly sensitive person. I'm a chronic overthinker, and I have a bad habit of bullying myself. All this while the weather is still sunshine and rainbows. So as you can imagine, shit hits the fan when it comes to the winter blues. It's easy to get stuck in these habits. The longer you are stuck, the gnarlier the overwhelm. And at the point that you feel like you're drowning, all you want to do is hit pause and start over. At least I do. And the thing is, I know what helps me feel better. I do. I know what helps me feel better. Most of the time, it's as simple as seeing a friend or getting creative. But when I'm in my moods, it's hard to separate myself from the couch. And the longer I wait to fill my cup, the harder it is and the longer it takes. I hate to use the tough love approach because if you're down in the dumps already, it honestly doesn't help. I know for myself, sometimes I really just need to sit in the suck, and I usually need to sit in the suck for longer than I'd like to, because for me, there's nothing that really gets me off my ass, like really getting tired of my own shit. But if you're not all the way down, if you're here just taking precautionary measures like I am, then maybe a loving kick in the ass is exactly what you need right now. I've been slowly crawling out of my black hole for almost a year now, and I needed to be extremely loving and patient and soft with myself during that time. But now I can admit that I'm finally getting to a point where I have just enough energy to force myself to do the bare minimum. And before my seasonal depression kicks in fully, I know I need to get in that lock-in, reset mindset mode. So what the fuck does that look like? Well, I found something that I'm calling Project 30. There are a million versions of this swirling around on the internet, so find one that works for you. But essentially, I have a 7-day habit tracker, printed it out and everything. Actually, let me go get it. Here she is in all her glory. Essentially, I have this habit tracker, and there are 7 daily rules and 30 days worth of boxes to check off. And so for my 7 rules and my 30 days, I'm just going to check off as much and as many of these boxes as I can. And again, there's a million and one versions of this floating around online that you can find that works for you. If this is not the tracker that works for you, don't use it. If the tracker is easy enough to follow and it works for you, but maybe the goals or the rules aren't really what you're looking for, whatever it is, I guess adjust it to fit your lifestyle, to fit your desires and your goals. So, that being said, my 7 rules for 30 days are: wake up before 8 a.m., have an hour solo morning routine, get myself an hour of movement each day, read 10 pages. I've been trying to read a chapter, but bare minimum here, so that way at least I can cross it off. An hour of learning every day. Eating well, so nourishing my body. Just really trying to make sure that I'm happy with what I put on my plate so that my body feels good and fueled and recharged and ready to go. And then lastly, journaling, scrapbooking, or tracking the progress. I've tried a million and one habit trackers, and none of them ever really stuck, but I think this format of having it pretty plain and simple, all you have to do is check the box if you did it, leave it empty if you didn't. It does really give me a good overall view of whether or not I'm staying on track with my goals or if I'm really trying to be the best version of myself. And I'm not gonna lie, it's only day 7 and I've already kind of missed a couple boxes on a couple days. You'll notice some of my boxes are not checked because Saturdays and Sundays I work full days at my job. So I'm not able to do as much as I'd like to do. That said, my job is very much on my feet at all times, so I do still count my hour of movement as working on those days. So it's a little bit of a cheat, but it's fine. I'm still moving my body. I work outside, so I'm still getting my fresh air and sunshine. Whatever works for you, make it so that it works for you, really. But I have been pretty consistent. I tend to wake up around 8 a.m. most days. And, once upon a time for me, that would be like sleeping in. But nowadays, it's just the right time. It's just the right amount of sleeping in, but also getting up early enough that I feel like I still have a whole day to work with. But just like everything else on this list, I've adjusted it to work with where I'm at in life right now. That's really all we can do is our best. So waking up at 8 a.m., I can be consistent, which in turn limits what time I need to go to bed. So even if I get to stay out a little bit later because I'm working, I don't want to go out after work like I normally would. I don't want to head to the bar for some drinks after clocking out at 10 p.m., because I do want to get up at 8 a.m. and I want to make sure that I'm following this Project 30 for at least 30 days. First of all, if you can't commit for at least 30 days, do you really want it that bad? So for 30 days, I am unattainable. I am unavailable. I cannot be reached. If I'm clocking out, I will see you next shift. Like, that's it. No more late nights scrolling, no more late night binge socializing. And honestly, the more I enforce the 8 a.m. wake up call, the less I'm able to maintain staying up late and socializing anyway. Like, the more my battery is drained far quicker. Does that make sense? So waking up at 8 a.m., that's my number one rule for the 30 days. My rule number 2, 1 hour solo morning routine. When I was working the 4 a.m. Starbucks shift, for some reason, 4 a.m. I had to clock in. My morning routine was a non-negotiable. I was up at 2 a.m. every day just to make sure that I had time to stretch, wash my face, get ready, get caffeinated, get caffeinated before my barista job, yes, but eat something. I had to have that time to myself in the morning before I even thought about getting into work mode. If I was able to keep that up at the ungodly hour of 2 a.m., then there should be no reason I skip it now that I have the time. Does that make sense? I'm always asking, does that make sense? And you can't answer me. I don't know why I'm asking. I do it so that I can hear myself speak. So rule number 3 is to get an hour of movement in every day. I've been trying to do at least, bare minimum, 2 hot yoga classes a week. And my hot yoga classes are an hour long. That usually takes care of the hour movement for that day. On the days I don't go to hot yoga, though, I will go for an hour walk. That my hot girl walks are my everything right now. They are my love language right now. I've been making a cup of coffee and just going for a stroll. And I mean, it's Southern California. There are plenty of pretty places to go take a walk and get some fresh air. See all the peacocks and all the horses and the goats. And it's just so cute to see the animals and the wildlife because, again, I'm from Brooklyn. So, I do like the little reminders here and there that, hey, you moved to vacation. You literally went on a vacation and never came back. How cool is that? So yeah, get your fit on, get your class pass, and move your body. Okay. Rule number 4 is to read 10 pages a day. It's a really good way to combat the binge scrolling, the binge Netflixing, all of the ways that we rot our brain without even really paying any attention to doing so. Rule number 5. 1 hour of learning every day. This one was the slap in the face I think I needed. All my life, I couldn't wait to be done with homework and classes and learning and school and presentations and critiques because I went to art school. I couldn't wait to be done with it. I had done, 16 years in school. You go into preschool and then you go into regular school. You go into high school and then you go into college. That's your whole life. In school, in classes, in learning, which, once you get into the real world, that's exhausting and you're over it. You don't want to do that anymore. And then the longer I was away from being a student, the more I kind of missed being a student. I didn't think about when I graduated, what I was going to miss about being in school. And a lot of it is that networking and that learning and that critiquing, that constructive criticism that you get from your peers who are in a similar realm. Now that I haven't been a student in nearly a decade, I kind of miss learning new stuff. But the cool thing about not being a student anymore is I get to choose what I want to learn, what I want to spend my time learning. I get to choose what I want to learn. I get to choose what my homework looks like. I get to choose when the assignments due. That one can backfire pretty quickly. So finally, I have decided to become a student again. Yay! I've been watching Spanish lessons online. I have been listening to Spanish lessons on my Spotify on my hot girl walks. I have been trying to incorporate texting my dad in Spanish so that I can practice reading and writing in the language and just being more fluent, because it's something I said I wanted to do. And who am I if I don't do the things I say I want to do? Well, then I'm a phony, right? And of course, I'm on my little YouTube journey here. So I have also been carving out the time to learn how to read my analytics and learn how to make better hooks and better thumbnails, and just learning how to figure it out along the way. Whatever it is I say I want to know or I say I want to learn, I will carve out the time to practice and learn it. Okay, I swear we're almost done. Number 6, eat nourishing foods. I know, this is not news. I know. But there's a reason everyone says to do it, and that's because it works. Eat the veggies. It's not always going to be quite as satisfying, but it can be. Learn your spices, Find what works for you, adjust it, and make it fun. I had to move. I was getting, crooked back from sitting down there. All right, we're back for the last and arguably most important part of Project 30, which is to journal/track your progress. Track your progress, because if you don't, you'll never be able to see how far you've come. And if you can't see your progress, you will more than likely feel stuck, stagnant, like you're not making any progress, which likely isn't true. That's another thing. While you're tracking, cut yourself some slack and celebrate your little wins, because I would often not celebrate my little wins, and so it felt like I wasn't making any progress unless I hit the big goal, which you're probably not going to do in 30 days, to be 100% honest. It's just not realistic. But in 30 days, you could make a really big jump toward your goal, and that still counts as progress. In fact, that is everything. That is the progress. That is what needs to happen for you to get to the big goal. But tracking your progress requires you to keep going, so you have something to track. Because if you stop, you have nothing to track. And if there's nothing to track and you're not making any progress, then you might as well not have the goal. And I know that you have the goal because it's important to you, so why not try to hit the goal? You know what I mean? So these are my 7 rules. This is my 30-day tracker. I'm trying to check them all off every day for my sanity. And I know this might sound like a lot. You might be like, bitch, I don't have time for an hour of movement a day, an hour of learning a day, and reading 10 pages. On top of that, an hour morning routine. You want me to get up before 8 a.m.? That might sound like a lot. Chill out. Like I said, you just have to make it work for you. Find what works for you. Find what's not a lot for you. Maybe waking up at 8 a.m. is absolutely unreasonable, and you're like 10:30 tops. That's the earliest I can get up. Do that. Maybe you're a 5 a.m. girly. I'm jealous. Do that. Whatever works for you, do that. Fill in the blank. Fill in what you need. Maybe you don't even care about reading. Then don't put read 10 pages on your habit tracker. Whatever works for you, I support it. Not that you need my permission. And if it feels like a lot to do every single day, find ways to habit stack. For example, like I said, Saturdays and Sundays, I work full shifts at my job. So if I'm there for 10 hours, that only leaves me so many hours left in the day to do the rest of my to-do list. On those days, I will habit stack because there just isn't enough time in the day. But I can, if I'm sticking to my 8 a.m. rule, I can make time for an hour of a morning routine, a solo morning routine for myself. And in that hour, I can go for a hot girl walk and listen to my Spanish lessons on Spotify while I walk. That right there checks off my wake up early goal, my solo morning routine goal, my movement goal, and my learning goal. As long as my food is prepped for the weekend, I can also be pretty much guaranteed to hit my nourishment goal, and I can read 10 pages on my lunch break. So this is how I'm trying to habit stack to make sure that I'm getting everything on this checklist done every single day. Even on the days that I think I don't have the time, I will find the time. I will figure it out because it is a goal of mine, because it is important to me that I actually do these things so that I actually feel good and I actually get to where I say I want to be. You know how the saying goes, if you want it, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. And that's not to say, again, let's circle back to the beginning where I was like, hey, if you're already down in the dumps, this isn't for you. This is not the kick in the ass you need. Just as a reminder, if you're going through it, sit in the suck. As much as it sucks, you're gonna have to just kind of sit with it and feel it for a little while. And finally, one day when you're ready to get up your ass and you're tired of your own shit, that is the only time that you can really make any progress. That is the only time that you can really get any forward momentum going, because nobody can want it for you. And I know sometimes when you're sitting in the suck, you think you want it, but what you really want is to just feel better. If you're sitting in the suck, I'm so sorry. I know it sucks, but you'll get out of it soon. Nothing lasts forever. Be gentle, be patient, and be soft with yourself right now, because that's really what you need. And when you're ready, you'll do great. I promise. If you or anyone you know has ever been to an addicts meeting, you'll be familiar with the 12 steps and some of the lingo that they use to help addicts break bad habits. One of the things they tell you is that you don't need to quit your vices forever, that you just need to quit and make it through today. And then tomorrow, you can try that again. Every day isn't perfect, and you might slip up here and there along the way, but the goal is to reset and reattempt every single day. This makes any goal less daunting, because you're not biting off more than you can chew and getting overwhelmed before you can get started. Because the vision is not for forever, but just for today. Every day. If you're still watching, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I love you. I appreciate you. I really needed to get this off my chest, I guess. Also, if anything I said didn't make sense because I'm going, does that make sense? Every 2 seconds, let me know. And if you say nothing in the comments, I'm just going to end up feeling like a crazy person spouting nonsense into the void, which is also okay, but definitely not ideal. So at least say hi. Because you're so sweet to me. Ugh, I love you. Okay, until next week. Happy Me Monday. Bye.